All right, guys, the cigars are lit. Welcome to episode number 23 of the Sunday Smoke. It's a podcast about nothing. And as you'll see today, we're back in the established joinery factory with the E-Man. He's making his third appearance on the podcast.
How you going, boys?
Welcome back, man. It's good to have you here. And of course, we have Jackson as well. He's decided to rock up. He's decided
to show up.
Decided to wake up.
Almost had a bit of a drama with the audio situation.
I know, but we've managed to fix that one up.
We salvaged what we had left.
In these late stages.
Had to develop a new situation on the computer called the Sunday Smoke emergency microphone setup.
Proud of you. You did well. Now, normally we ask the guests how they're going, but you know what? I'm going to change it up. You know, Jackson, how you feeling today, man?
Are you going to change it up so much?
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, and I'm feeling back to be, in established joinery.
Yeah.
Today with the E-Man. We're excited to see a new side of him.
Yeah, that's it. You know, Elie, he's jumped on this podcast twice before. We've got to see the roast master, but today we're going to take it back a touch and get behind, the upbringings of Elie and where he's come and some of maybe the mistakes that he's made in the past. And I think a lot of people are going to take a lot of value in what Elie has to say during this podcast. So for this first half, Elie, we want to, you said you were going to write down some show notes for us to prepare how we're going to ask some questions. And
well, first we'll start with, obviously I'm not got my sexy voice on tonight.
Yeah.
So,
very.
The kids are a bit sick. They've given me the bug.
Yeah.
Everyone's a bit sick at the moment, man.
Yeah.
So a little bit sick. So hopefully the voice isn't too annoying for the people listening.
I think it's pretty sexy.
I don't know.
I think it's nice.
I think it's an upgrade. I wish I could rock this voice 24/7.
That is a good voice.
I wish it's my new permanent voice. But,
the voice that makes deals.
You know what I like about your podcast, guys? Obviously you started, when you guys started the podcast, we gave you a bit of feedback, went back and forth, started to get a few guests. My favorite guest, Andy from Hookah. Love Andy, man.
Shout out, Andy.
I like that. That really got me into the podcast more. And then you start getting a few guests, and I noticed that you just were giving the everyday battler a go.
Yeah.
And I have a chat with my two best mates, and we're called the Battlers. It's called the Battler Chat.
The Battler
You
Chat.
can't forget where you came from. Doesn't matter what happens. I always say you can't forget where you came from, right? And I'm not saying I've made it anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm still a battler. But you get this. So we always hear the stories of, that's what I noticed. You always hear the stories of the famous people or people that made it. But then, obviously none of us are famous. You guys aren't famous. And then you just give normal people just to go to tell their story. Because I think everyone has a story.
That's it.
Everyone's got something interesting to say.
100%, man. And some people you think wouldn't be that interesting probably have the most interesting stories
and that's
adversities that they've come through. So,
and that's that's the direction that we want the podcast to take. It's an everyman's podcast.
And I think that the interesting thing is, you touch on not everyone can be famous. A lot of these famous people, they're coming from either they're hyper successful in the business world or they're some form of entertainer. Right, that's where all the famous people come from.
Yeah,
right, in some way, shape, or form. But there's a whole bunch of other careers and paths down life. You don't have to be famous to be successful, or you don't have to, have a big name to show that you've made it from where you come from.
Yeah,
So for some people, making it is being able to live a nice, comfortable life with a family and all those things that come along with that.
Yeah.
And that's what I really appreciate.
Yeah. So, Elie, we want to take this opportunity since we haven't been able to prepare much from your
show notes. That's part of the show notes. There is no show notes.
Yeah, that's it. That's the beauty of it.
Because that is me, essentially.
You know what it means? It's coming from the heart. When it comes from the heart, it's gold.
Yeah, that's what I pride myself on, being able to, with work in particular, being able to perform under pressure, because I'm a tradesman, and any good trade, there's a lot of good tradesmen out there. Any good tradesman will be able to perform under pressure.
Yeah.
And anyone in any facet of life, if you want to be the best at what you do, you got to perform under pressure. So, and we always do when we've had weddings or whatever, make speeches. So we don't need show notes. We'll just wing it, man. That's the best way.
And we want to take this opportunity, for this first half of the podcast. Well, we're going to give you the floor at the start. See what you want to talk about in your life first, and then we'll run off whatever you want to talk about.
Or basically, that's what I said, when you're letting people come on and you're giving them a go, tell their story, and when I listen to a few people, particularly like I said, and when I listen to a few of I resonated You know, even though like Andy's not famous, but I resonated with a few things he said, and he taught me a few life lessons. So you never know.
Yeah.
And maybe no one will learn anything from me, or no one will. But you know, when you get a guest next time, they might say something, might teach someone, you know,
Yeah.
something. So basically, I've always been a hard worker. I just grew up with a work ethic, and I think I was from the age of 14. I picked up golf. I started playing golf. And then I was fortunate enough to be employed by the pro at the time, Matt, at the Cabramatta Golf Club. So he hired me, and I was like 14 years old, or 14 and a half years old, pretty young to be working there. Started by putting the carts away, washing the carts.
Yeah.
Then got behind the till, then running the comps. And the cool thing about working in a golf shop is I was working, but I was playing golf. So basically I was spending all my time at the golf club from the age of 14 to like 18, 19, 20. Made some lifelong friends, man.
Yeah.
Some great mates. And golf is very social. And what that place taught me was I had to deal with a lot of old people, or older people. And so, and when in life, I noticed when you get old, you go one or two ways. You become grumpy, or you become happy. There kind of isn't an in between.
Yeah.
So you have to deal with the grumpy old man,
Yeah.
or the cool guy. So you know, the cool retiree. So I was fortunate enough there, and then there was a little period where, because obviously I went to school, finished year 12, and then started my trade apprenticeship in shop fitting and detail joinery. And while I was doing that, I was still working at the golf club, and in between there I was done a little bit of pizza deliveries.
Yeah.
Chip in order.
Pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, I was.
The
I was
sexy
Dougie.
pizza guy.
Shit.
Yeah.
Which pizza joint?
Some just like mum and dad pizza shop in back of Chippy Norton. They're not around anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how I got the job. Someone I knew.
You just rocked up one day.
Yeah, and then that lasted for a period of time, not too long. And then so I just kept working at the pro shop on the weekends.
Yeah.
Doing my trade. And when you do a trade, it's changed. But back in the day, you had to put in. You still have to put in, but not a lot of people are willing to put in now. But back then, you had to put in a lot of hours, a lot of effort, a lot of. You made a lot of mistakes. You had to learn from a lot of mistakes. And I was fortunate enough. I was in a position where I was, like, I felt I was good at what I did. I picked it up naturally, and I just worked there long hours. 4 years, finished an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And I think about the time I finished my apprenticeship, that's when I had a chat with Matt. I said, listen, it's time to part ways at the golf club.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the golf club, that's where the real memories were made.
Yeah.
Like, they were the fun times.
Because I remember when you were finishing up at the golf club, it was a hard decision for you to make. You didn't want to make it in a way.
Yeah, well, I always say your best asset is your worst asset. So, or your best asset is the thing that will leave you behind. So one of the things I pride myself on is loyalty. I pride myself on being loyal.
Yeah.
Right. But sometimes loyalty is not a good thing either. You know, especially when you're loyal for the wrong reasons or for the wrong people. So, I'm gonna say I outstayed my welcome, but I felt like, you know, I was just loyal to the pro there, and I probably stayed a year or two longer than I should have.
Yeah.
But he was good to me, so I can't complain. And I only did weekends, but I really should. That's when I should have been resting, so I could focus on what I was doing full time. But yeah, like I said, two of my best buddies played golf with him today at New South Wales.
Yeah.
It's
Very exclusive.
very exclusive golf course. Yeah, lifelong friends. The
just
Batlers chat.
How much is a membership there? You said I didn't know how much a membership was until you said.
Don't quote me what the membership is there. It's anywhere between 5 to 30k. I don't know what it is, but the joining fee is 100k a year.
Wow.
And the waiting list is long, and you only get in when people start dying. So
Yeah.
someone
And then you take this.
then you take this spot. It's a bit morbid.
It is very.
No, I got to play there today. I haven't played there before, so that was good.
Could you imagine that? Like
A waiting list. That
Did you hear Wade like, oh, beautiful? Finally, it's my time to shine. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, go on.
So, but like I said, yeah, the golf club was good. Had good times there, and golf is, they call it the gentleman's game. So it taught me. I have to say, and I had a mentor there who passed away not long ago, Bill Watson.
Bill
he
Watson.
was a good man. When he passed away, I was actually really upset because
Yeah.
he took me under his wing when I was about 14 years old, and not just me, he took about like another 20 juniors, and
Yeah.
he taught us etiquette, he taught us respect, he turned us into men well before our years, and he did that with me, he did that with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful that I'm very grateful at the golf club. I bumped into a lot of like older men that just had enough time to give to us. Myself and a lot of others, but me in particular, they gave me a lot of time, and I'll be indebted for them forever for that, because they were like I said, they turned me into a man before I was a man, I have to say. And you had no choice. You had to be, because if you weren't, you couldn't play. They wouldn't let
Yeah.
you play.
It's a big
'Cause
game of etiquette.
Yeah. So I became a tradie, and then a guy he was a subby installer, opened up his own business, asked me, can you come work with me, run the factory. We started off, like you see my factory, he's got some nice machinery. We
Yeah.
started off with a smallest edge bender, smallest panel saw, like dinosaur panel saw, no CNC. It was a disaster. We really started from the ground up.
The battlers of
It
joinery.
was the Battler's factory, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, we worked. I did that. He got the jobs and he installed the jobs, and I contracted for him. So I was a subby to him for about 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
So from the age of around 20 to 23, something around that. And the same thing, I probably should have left him about 3 years earlier than what I did.
Yep.
But my loyalty again got in the way. I don't want to call it get in the way, because I'm very good friends with him now.
Yeah.
And he also gives me a lot of work. Probably sends the most work towards me.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for him for that. And we ended on very good terms. So yeah, I stayed with him because we moved from Smithfield to Smeaton Grange, and when we did, I got a huge offer from a company.
Yeah.
They like headhunted me, which
Yeah.
is, I don't know, it's not really the right word to use in my industry, but
Yeah.
that's probably just so that people can understand, because they knew what I could do, and they needed someone, and they had people that didn't know what they were doing. Their pockets were really full. So they offered me big, like ridiculous amounts of money. And I had a meeting, and then I sat down and I'm like, the guy I worked for at the time, he just moved his factory, got a new machine, got new leases, got set up. And I was like, I can't leave this guy.
Yeah.
So, and also something about this company didn't sit right. Like, I was just like, like, I don't know. It just something wasn't right. So I may not have lasted there, even if I did take, the money. So
Yeah.
my loyalty is because he taught me everything I knew
Yeah.
from an apprentice. And then basically when we started, I used to get anxiety because he'd throw me jobs that was a bit out of my depth.
Yeah.
But the way he told me was, well, you just got to do it. And so I was like drowning in a sense.
Yeah. Because he threw you in the deep end.
He threw me in the deep end.
When you can't swim.
And he'd give me stuff, and I'd look at it and I'm like, I can't do that. But I guess he believed in me.
Yeah.
And then somehow I'd get it done. And
Yeah.
then again, over and over and over. So he basically taught me everything. So I looked at it that I owe him my trade, because he taught me everything I know. But he was good, because he always used to say to me, you don't know me anything, because I gave you the opportunity and you took it, because he's a really good tradesman. And together we worked very well together,
Yeah.
But I have this thing, like a respect thing. So if something would happen that I didn't like, it was very hard for me to stand up to him. It was very hard for me to tell him the way I felt.
Yeah.
And there's a thing where, like, when the master and the apprentice, wants to outshine the master, it's very hard. So I got to a point where I needed to just move on. And we had a way of working. It worked for us. But then I had a meeting with a wardrobe company. He wanted to start doing kitchens.
Yeah.
And he's the first thing is like, we do this, we do that. We have a big setup, massive setup, completely different to what I've ever seen before. So I was always working on my own. Everything was like run through me, and I'm going to a place where there's workers. Like I've never worked with workers.
Yeah,
I
you've
was
only
always
really
on my own.
on your own. Yeah, the
Um,
lone wolf.
Yeah, the lone wolf, and then I had workers, and I had to adapt to that, and production, and like having to trust people to do things when I wasn't used to trusting people. And he wasn't sure I could handle it, but because he also had his hands on the steering wheel of his business and he didn't want to let go. So I started with him, and he gave me an opportunity to learn something completely different.
Yeah,
So I got to see production. I got to see when you invest a little bit of time and money in certain programs or in certain tools or in certain aspects, it can make your job so much easier and so much faster in the long term.
Yeah.
So, you know, I although I went, and this is funny because where I went, basically I knew more than everyone there,
yeah,
a lot more than everyone there.
yeah,
But I learned so much, and I worked with him for about a year, and about a year I was with him, and I was on a good wicket. I can't complain for what I was, but I worked really hard, and I did what I was doing, plus running machines, but the difference was when I was working with him, because I was really the only tradesman that knew what I knew. I was really on my own. Although I had a lot of workers and I had a lot of people around me, I was actually on my own. Where I worked before, I always had that backup.
yeah,
Because the guy I worked with, he was like, if there was something a bit complicated, we could do it together, or we could get by.
But now you're
Yeah.
the big dog. You're the responsible guy.
Well, yeah. So like,
Yeah.
stuff that's curved, miters, kitchens with so much detail, joinery with so much detail, displays with so much detail. It's like, and I was on my own. So I actually felt more alone working there in a big factory with a lot of workers than I did when I was actually working alone.
yeah,
In a funny way.
yeah. I feel
Right.
you. Okay.
So now we're at the point where I was working with him, and it was like blood. It was like water and oil. So he wanted to improve his business. I had the answers for him to improve his business, but he just couldn't do it. He couldn't hand the reins over.
Yeah,
And he wanted me to, at 3:00, just go home, stop thinking about work. I couldn't do it. I'm not capable of doing it, right? I've never done it. And I came from an environment where work was everything. And we'll scale back to those times because they'll come with the family.
yeah,
So we came to a point where we weren't butting heads because the guy's like top bloke, fantastic guy, very generous. Always said relax and whatever. But I kind of came to a point where I cared for his business more than he cared for his business, more than anyone cared for his business. And so I had a meeting with him, and I said to him, "Listen, I think it's time I have to open up my own business." And he said, the first thing he said to me was, "You know what? I've been watching you work for the last year, and I can't believe you don't have your own business." And I said to him, "Well, you know why I don't have my own business? Because it's not like a plumber or an electrician or there's a bit of an outlay. There's an investment involved. There's a leases, there's rent, there's fixed cost, ongoing cost, insurances. So, if it was that easy, I could have just done it before."
Yeah.
But the funny part is, when I was working as a subby for my original job, I used to do side jobs. Like I used to do a lot of my own side jobs on the side, and I always used to think, "Oh well, I don't need my own factory because I have his factory. He let me do side jobs all the time." He was great like that. He said, "That's a factory. The keys are yours. You go, cut what you want. Just pay me for the material. Make as much money as you want. It's all good." And I never, ever, ever had the ambition to have my own factory, ever. Have my own business. And I resented it, hated it.
yeah.
Couldn't stand it. So when I left him, I
Why,
started,
why was that? But
I don't know. I can't answer it. I just never wanted
I feel like a lot of people get to the point, because I was actually having this this discussion with someone that we all know, and he was basically saying you can be the top dog and own your own business, but that comes with a lot of liability.
yeah,
Yeah, liability
comes with a
was
lot of
one,
liability.
and I've seen a lot of people that in that. Well, what used to maybe and a subconscious thing was because I worked for someone for so long, was loyal to his business, treated his business like it was mine, then left, worked for someone else that I didn't know, then got to know, became good friends with, did the same thing. There was a part of me that was scared. Well, if I do that for these people, when I have my own business, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
But this is where it gets funny, because I never wanted it, like despised it, if anything. Left, worked for 6 months, started to get the itch. Within the year, decided that's it, I've got to do it. And since I've opened my business, I've never been more relaxed in my life.
Yeah.
That's
it's pretty ironic.
It's so ironic. It's like, it's crazy. Like, and I was so scared to take that jump
Yeah.
for years, and I didn't want to take that jump. And then when I did, it was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, like I still work hard, and I'm still very committed to my own business, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just like, I don't know, it's mine. So everything that's here is mine. Everything I did it on my own. I was very lucky with my dad. He did say to me, don't be scared, because for the first year, if you can't pay your leases, if you can't pay your rent, if you have any trouble, I got your back.
Yeah.
I got you. You know, whatever it is, I've got you. He was saying that because he believed in me, and he knew that I wouldn't need him.
Yeah.
And he knew, like, I wouldn't even ask him because it's not my personality. But it was just that little insurance that gave me that little bit of, you know, that little bit of a push.
Yeah.
And with that, you know, no, I never needed him. Everything's good. Let's not. When you start, anyone that is out there that has a small business knows cash flow is always an issue, particularly when you have a lot of COD accounts. Cash flow is always an issue, but the bills get paid every month. I'm running a business on basically all my, I don't have accounts. They're all cash flow, like they're all COD. Family's looked after, bills are paid, and life is good. That's
Life is
where
good.
we're at now.
The
But-
humidor was good.
The humor was good, man. 70%. Right? So if we scale it back, there was a period of time there where, like I said, I was working with the guy I used to work with, like the guy I worked with for a long time. We worked like from 6 in the morning till 10 at night, 6 in the morning till 12 at night,
Yeah.
back it up the next day. Some days we worked, and then we'd go do night work. And I did that before I got married. Then I got married, and I kept doing it. And my wife, God bless her, she put up with it. All right.
She's a good woman.
I'm blessed to have a wife like mine. But I always say, I didn't change. The person she met me before was the same person. And I always had a plan. I always said, the time is now to go to do this. With everything, I had a plan. And then my kids started to come along, and I continued to work. Because I said to her, well, they're still young. I still got to provide. I was hustling. I was very hungry. Now, I'm blessed with 3 beautiful girls, right? And the thing that I can look back at and learn from, like, if I could look back, because some people say, well, you don't have regrets in life, right? But I don't think you don't have. I think whatever it is you do in life, you always look back and you change something. It's inevitable, right? Because you'll always be able to fix. And I said this originally when I came on the first podcast.
Yeah.
Hard work will always let people respect you. It will always, like, people will admire you, right? And it will keep you comfortable. But it will not set you up. It will not make you happy. You have to make moves, right? And it took me a while to learn that. And maybe I learned that at the right time in my life. Maybe I made the right moves at the right time. I might have made them earlier. But I also say, if, like, I go left, I go right, I go left, I go right, I go right, I go left, right? And it brought me to this point. So if I changed any of those moves, would I not have met my wife?
Exactly.
Would I not have my kids? I wouldn't trade that for anything.
That's right.
So, you know, I'm not saying I'm the most religious, but I say God has a plan for me, and you got to, like, I'm very happy with where I'm at now. But giving people advice, yes, you have to, working hard is fantastic, but you have to make moves. You have to make moves, and the right moves, not stupid moves. Like, you hear people now, they want to invest in crypto, and they want to do this. They want to put $1,000. They want to turn it into 10,000. That's like,
Quick
you know,
buck.
back in the day, you invest 1,000, you get 100 back. There's your good return, you know. But that's not good enough anymore. And I bring it back to something my dad told me. So when I first got married, my wife, we were married about 2 months, 3 months, and my wife fell pregnant.
Yeah.
Right? So we were planning to announce it to the family, but we were waiting for my sister's birthday to announce it.
Yeah.
Remember the
That's
Bon
a good
Jovi
one.
tickets?
That's the Bon. Your sister.
Yeah, your sister. I didn't know. My sister broke down in tears, and your sister was like, "I didn't know Jocelyn loves Bon Jovi that much."
Before you
I
got Bon Jovi tickets.
So I was just having a chat with my dad, and my dad said to me, I said to my dad, "Oh yeah, we're going to try to have kids soon."
This
But
was, yeah.
I was saying to him, "We're going to try and have kids soon," but I already know my wife's pregnant, and I'm just like throwing it out there. And he just turns around and he just goes to me, "Listen, I want to tell you something, right?" And my dad, our dad,
Yeah.
right? Funny guy, right? Funny guy, quietly spoken,
Cool, calm, collected.
calm, collected. He got that nice little Arab accent on
Yeah.
him. But when he talks, he's got some really wise words,
Yeah.
right? So he said to me, like in the Lebanese culture or the Arab culture, however you want to put it, there's a saying, and to translate it in English, with every child you have will come fruits, if you want to call it, or graces, or luck, or like so money and opportunity, and there's a saying,
Yeah.
right? It is right? That's the word.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what he said. He said, but the trick is they don't just say it; they actually believe it, right? That's the trick. So he said that to me, and obviously he registered. And now, like, I'm 36 years old, so I look back in my life, and then I go, well, I got married, right? So I worked I worked so hard, right?
Yeah.
I worked so hard. And when I got married, I didn't have a house, didn't have anything, right? Just had a bit of savings, but so we started renting. Then my first daughter was born. We bought a unit. Then my second daughter was born. Then we bought a house. Then my third daughter was born.
Yeah.
I've got my business.
Yeah.
Like, so if I do the timeline, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, as
Yeah. True.
with
Yeah.
it, like,
funny how
and
things
some
work
people
out.
sit there and go, "Oh, it's not the time to have kids." No, it's never the time, man. If I was going to wait for the time, I still wouldn't have kids. So, to me, like, I try to skim very quickly over the business stuff.
Yeah.
Because to me, I don't want to bore everyone with what I
Yeah.
did for work. To me, I'm a family guy, and my family is very important to me.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there that go, like, "Oh, we got to wait to have kids," or we got, and essentially, this is my baby here, my business, and I didn't want it, or it was never the right time, and that's what you got to do. You just got to make moves, and you can't be scared, and it's easy to look back and go, okay, if I did this and I did that, and your podcast is a very positive podcast, right? So when I was a little bit younger, okay, because you don't like to talk about negative stuff, and I don't want to talk about negative stuff.
But sometimes it's appropriate
It's inevitable.
for a positive outcome.
Yeah, well, but when I was younger, I did buy an investment. I did lose a lot of money,
Yeah.
and I was young at the time, and coming out of that, I didn't deal with it very well because I don't know. I worked very hard from the age of 17 to 21. Bought a house. Global financial crisis. Everyone can blame that. They'd use that as an excuse. But it did. But when I did buy the house, I had no idea what interest was. I had no idea what a loan. I didn't understand any of it. I just did it because it's just ignorant, right? Then the market crashed. Couldn't hang on to the house. Sold the house. Coming out of that, I didn't deal with that well at all because I was like, well, F this. I've spent the last 4 years working, 3 jobs, paying for this house, lost all this money. And I just went on one 3-year bender where I just spent money on cars.
Yeah.
Went out every weekend. Still worked hard. Went out. Hardly slept. Never did drugs.
Yeah.
Never did drugs.
Yeah. It
Right?
just-
Hand on heart, never did drugs. Just drank a lot of alcohol.
a lot of Malibu pineapples.
All right. And a lot of sleepless nights. I was lucky. I had a lot of good friends around me that didn't do it either. So I was good like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, a mum that was a Nazi.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
smell us when we'd come home.
Yeah. She'd always sniff the pants, sniff the shirts.
So so I didn't deal with it very well. So, but if, like I said, if I go back to then and say, all right, let's say I hung on to the house, or let's say after let's say I didn't buy the house, bought it a bit later, so any of that stuff, maybe I might sit here and own 4, 5, 6 houses,
Yeah.
but I might not be married, or I might be married, I might have got divorced. So, at the end of the day, who cares?
I know, because
I'm happy.
that's the beauty of it. It's not about the destination. It's always about the journey.
Yeah.
And every person's journey is different.
You know what I've always said? It's like that Seinfeld episode. You know,
we haven't referenced Seinfeld, did
Yeah.
we?
I lose $1, I find $1.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find $1, I lose $1. You know, but it always ends up working out, and I'm always at 0 by the end of it. I'm never up front. I'm never behind. I'm just the same way that I was always going to be.
So
And that's what I say for pretty much everyone and everything. You know, when times are tough, you'll go through streaks where times are tough, but just as life would have it later down the track, you'll go through streaks where life is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and things just happen to work out. And it's true for everyone.
Yeah.
You can get a streak of bad luck. It can be a very long streak of bad luck, but eventually bad luck has to run out.
it's the hard times that made me.
Mm.
It was the hard times that made me, not the easy times. I'm just enjoying the easy times now.
Yeah.
But I'm blessed that I got the boys, you,
The Shababs.
Bob and Ray. I'm also, my brother's 10 years younger than me, so I went through a period of my... So I had my mates, didn't have... But now I've come into a stage of my life where my brother and like we're best mates now. So we're brothers, we're best mates, looking to be kind of business partners in certain things. Like, you know, he always calls me for advice. I can ask him for advice now. So like...
Yeah, no, it feels good actually.
No.
The turntables.
And you and like I said, Bob and Ray, it's like I don't know. Now, why I love Andy's podcast so much is because he resonated with me because I was going through a change in my life.
Yeah.
Where I went, obviously I had a lot of pressure. My wife doesn't work; she's a stay-at-home mom, looks after the kids, worked, you know. But you get the pressures of life, right? But I feel like society's become a pack of whingers, whiners, mopers, right? And you get caught in that negative energy. So when he came on the podcast, he was promoting positivity.
Yeah.
And as he was promoting it, I was transitioning in the last 6 months to stop hanging around certain people that I grew up with, whether they be family, friends, acquaintances, whatever. Even leeches. When like as a subby, I had a lot of leeches. Can you do this for me? Can you do it? And I was always the kind of guy, if you're digging a hole, I'll grab a shovel, I'll help you dig it. If you're putting up a fence, I'll grab my drill, I'll help you put it up. Always.
Yeah.
And people take advantage of that. And once I opened my factory, a lot of people started coming in.
Just gonna stop you right there. I thought you meant that metaphorically, but then I just realized you meant that completely literally. Yeah, like I'm actually gonna get a shovel and help you dig a hole.
Yeah, that's my personality. That's my style, right? Okay. But I also said, I got to look after my family too. That's time I'm taking from my girls, right? So, but when I opened this factory, I made a promise to myself, and I said I will only invest my loyalty to people that are interested in keeping my roller door open.
Yeah.
If you're not invested and interested in keeping my roller, so if I give you a price and you're like, can you do it cheaper, or can you cut this, or do you have this, or if you're a leech, piss off, man. If you actually want me to be successful, want me to make money, because I have people out, like the guy I used to work for, both of them. One of them, the first week I opened, he gave me a job straight away. He said, start this job. Through COVID, all right, I also like about your podcast, you never talk about COVID.
Yeah.
I love that. But through COVID, he had a few jobs. I said to him, man, if you're quiet, you keep him. He goes, I need to keep you busy, because later on, I'm good. I've been established. I need to keep you busy. The guy I worked for previously for that year and a bit, the minute I opened up here, he called me. He said, what's your bank account? You need 50K? I'll transfer you 50K. You can pay me back whenever you want. You don't have to pay me back, Why are they invested? Because I also work with, he calls me all the time when there's stuff that he can't do. He sends it my way. I do it for him. So it's not a charity, but they're actively invested in keeping my roller door open. And it's levels. So I got stage 1. They're the ones that I will drop everything for.
Yeah.
On an instant, I'll drop everything and I'll help them. Then there's next level. People like you, all right, you're not bringing me work, but you want to see me do good.
Yeah.
How's business? How's the family? How's the kids? Are you making money? There's those people. And then, man, the tier under there, man, I don't have time for them anymore. And once I did that, everything changed.
Yeah.
Everything shifted. Start hanging around with positive people. Start hanging around with people in my corner. Not people... Bob, he said to me, you got to remove your anchors. And all that. And he sent me a book to listen to about manifestation, I don't have to explain any of this because it's all over the internet. It's massive
Yeah.
right now, right? But that's why I resonated with Andy, because it was like I was riding that wave, and he kind of pushed me along, as well.
And that shows you
That's
like
what I love about the podcast.
yeah,
You know,
You know?
it's funny that you say a lot of that because I was speaking to my dad a while ago, and he doesn't believe, and he's got me into that mindset. I don't believe in mates rates, right?
Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking, but mates rates.
Well,
You know,
some people do.
I know a lot of people do, and
Yeah.
it's one thing to want to help a friend out, right? But then if they're really a friend, don't they want to help you out?
yeah, that's right.
You know, they want to keep you, like you said, they want to keep your roller doors open. You want to keep your business afloat.
Yeah.
Especially when it's in business. If you're going to be making money off something, you shouldn't be getting it for cheaper somewhere else
Yeah.
from a mate.
Well,
And that's-
anyone that works with me, I have a theory. If I'm making money, they need to be making money. So my installers, a delivery driver, a plumber, an electrician, anyone I deal with, they need to be making. If I'm making money, they need to be making money. And what happens is when you look after them, when you call them, they answer your phone.
Yeah.
They're not like, oh fuck, Ellie's calling me again, man. What's
Yeah.
he want, right? So, but people, yeah. So I always say this. I always say I've opened this place up. Support me, but you don't have to support me. You might not be able to support me, but you can support me by just leaving me alone.
Yeah.
You know, you can support me by
Support-
leaving me alone. Just leave me alone, and I'll
Support
be fine.
doesn't just come through money and dollars
know?
and senses.
So,
Yeah.
and and I always say, like, if a friend of mine, it's my nature. But if a friend of mine opened a chicken shop, I'd get all my mates together and we'd go to that chicken shop and we'd order everything off the menu.
Yeah.
And we'd pay top, and he'd be like, no, it's discount and whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, no, because that's how it should be.
Yeah.
We should be
100%.
supporting each other. But for some reason, I don't know why, the world just gone ultra negative,
Mm.
like ultra leechy. Like
Yeah.
if then someone knows you, they just want and I promised myself, because when I started this business, I was like, I'm taking a lot of money from my savings. I'm taking a lot of my time, effort, setting this place up. I owe it to my kids that I do the right thing by them, because any dollar that I don't make, it's theirs, essentially. So and it doesn't mean I don't look after people. All I mean is I just look after the right people now. Where
Yeah.
before I just used to look after everyone. And
But you can't look after everyone
Yeah.
at the end of the day, because the same people gonna look after you, because you're gonna
Yeah.
you hit a breaking point then, where everything just crumbles.
Yeah. So
that affects your mental health.
And yeah, so I'm not going to say I was depressed, but when you get in that kind of rut, you don't know you're in it. And I've always been a kind of positive kind of guy, but you just get in that rut. The people you hang around, it wavers on you, where like now I make it up, like, and I told my wife all the time, I said, you wake up in the morning, right? And it's very simple. You wake up, you open your eyes. All right, we're all tired. Okay, we're all tired.
Everyone's
but you just
tired.
go, you look at what you got, you be grateful for what you have, not upset for what you don't have. And then you say to yourself, like, all right, today's going to be a good day. All right. And the reason you say that, okay, and I'm not preaching anything that no one does know, but the reason you say that is because if you wake up and you go, fuck, man, another day, fuck, you know, what possible good can happen to you that day?
We were having
What-
this conversation.
What good? Man, nothing
Yeah.
can happen to you, man. Even if there's $1 million briefcase in front of you, you walk over it.
Yeah.
You walk over it, man.
We were actually having this conversation with the Euphoria boys
The Steve
a couple
Harvey.
of weeks
Yeah.
ago
I love the
About-
Euphoria boys.
about Steve
their vibe.
Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Shout out
anyone,
to the Euphoria boys.
yeah, I don't know if anyone's seen it, but there's the Steve Harvey bit where, you know, he's basically working every day with this guy, and this guy calls him at like 5 a.m. every single morning, you know,
Yeah.
and Steve's always answering the phone every morning. Or like, oh man, I'm tired. I just would like you to wake me up every morning.
Yeah.
And Steve asked the guy one day, why you keep like, you know, waking me up? The guy asked Steve, why do you sound like shit every day?
Yeah.
Every morning when you wake up. He's like, oh, because it's 5 a.m. You're waking me up at this time.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what good do you expect to happen if you don't, you know, answer the phone all happy and excited for the new day, the new opportunities,
Yeah.
the new everything that comes along? So then the next morning, Steve,
Everything's.
the everything's. Steve wakes up and he's all excited. Oh, it's going to be an amazing day.
Yeah.
You know, all this stuff. Look where he is
Happens.
now.
What
You know?
happens?
Yeah.
It won't happen overnight, but when you continually do that consistent, and life is about consistency,
You
you'll
still
find
gonna have
that-
bad days.
Yeah.
Like I have bad days, but
everyone has bad days.
like I said, and like it's just in my demeanor. I've like obviously with my wife's cousin Andrew, who people think we're a lot closer than what we are. We don't see each other that much. But we send each other a lot of photos, a lot of messages. His Instagram, Cut and Toast,
Yep.
is very full of my content, the photos I send him. But when I send him photos, you know, most people that if you send them that many photos, cigars, smoking, scotch, this and that, they'd get annoyed. They'd be like, oh, fuck, look at this guy, man, sending me photos. He's just like, man, keep sending him.
Yeah.
And every time he sends them, he says to me, we say something to each other. Life is good. Life is good. All right. So, and I say that a lot now. I say that to everyone.
Yeah.
And the more I say it, the better life is getting, man.
Yeah.
Life is good. So, is life good, or am I convincing myself life is good? What's the difference? As long as I'm happy, you know, what's the difference? Maybe it might be ignorant, man. Maybe life is the same, but my demeanor makes me feel like it's better than what it is, or you know. So, life is good.
You know, I like what you said before about you know, how we're very positive on this podcast.
Yeah,
You know,
I love that.
We don't talk about negative stuff.
Never.
You know, so I wanted to bring it back and touch on something a little bit off topic. But I've said to a lot of people before, I don't like how people, they get caught up in so much bad in the world. You know, how there's always bad going on. They're obsessed with politics, or they're obsessed with, you know, whatever's going on, and war and all these issues in the world. Yet they don't want to look at where they're living and how all the good parts about life and all the things that we have as opposed to what we don't have.
Yeah.
You know?
I always say,
Like-
man, if you do a deep dive,
If you do a deep,
it's the people that whinge, right? So people that will complain about, for instance, the government taxes us too much, right? For instance, do a deep dive into their life, you probably find they've done some tax evasion, you know, or some insurance fraud. I mean, a lot of people that whinge, they're part of the problem. Like, someone said to me, you know, like, this is a funny one. Someone goes to me, you should get your sunglasses on your private health cover. I go, why should I get sunglasses on private health cover? You pay for private health cover. Just I know a guy, and if you go there, you get sunglasses for private health cover. And I'm like, okay, mate, last week you were whinging that our premiums are going up all the time. And they were like, yeah, they do go up all the time. Yeah, that's why they fucking go up all the time, man. People like you go on getting sunglasses from private health cover when they're not designed for that. So a lot of people that whinge, they're just miserable, man.
Yeah.
And they got nothing better to do. But do a deep dive into their life, and then you'll find that they'll contradict everything they're whinging about.
And then there's the flip side to that. So that's like the negative part of it, that you do a deep dive into the people that are whinging and the people that are complaining. And that's the one thing. I really don't like complaining in general, right? But when you do a deep dive into life and the world and you look around you, there's so much more good than there is bad.
Yeah, but there is so much bad.
Of course there is. But
there is so much bad that's why we should be grateful for what we have.
But I personally believe that if you look deep into the world, right, as it is today, right, the bad is attractive, right? Bad turns heads. I feel like people think that it's just a given for the world to be good. The world has to be good because that's the way it should be. It's not a given, right? There's a lot of bad. There's a lot of people that want to take, you know, power and money and do bad things with it and do all this stuff. But you look around, good isn't necessarily given. And you look at all the good stuff we have, and I feel like there is an overwhelming majority of good in the world as opposed to bad. It's just that bad turns heads.
Jackson's a good bloke, man.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy, man.
And that's the point. That's why when you look at the media, for example, what is predominantly on the media?
Yeah, well,
Negative.
Well, in the golf right now, some golfers are getting Phil Mickelson
and Luke Golf.
Brooks Koepka. They're getting hammered for signing. So Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, they got in the space of 150 million to 200 million to sign on with this Saudi.
Yeah.
And they're getting grilled by the media.
Yeah.
You know, and I wish they just turn around to the media, and because like as if the media are like the moral compass, right? So I wish they just turn around to them and say to them, because they get asked, don't you feel bad that Saudis and terrorism and all the rest of it, man? Like everyone's seen it. I don't need to explain it, right? But I wish they turn around and say to the guys in the media, because they say they ask hypotheticals. That's what the media is good for. So why don't they turn around to the media and say, well, you know what? If a Saudi journalist company offered you 200 million, what would you do?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't answer the question, would they?
That's right.
Yeah. What would they do, mate? It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You know, Tiger Woods, in my opinion, best golfer of all time. Of all the, not endorsements, but all the prize money he's made by winning all those tournaments, right? All the prize money he's made, doesn't go to 150, doesn't
Yeah.
come up to 150 million. So what do you expect them to do? They're just doing the best thing by their family tree. They've done the right thing by Phil Mickelson's done a lot for the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
So some people are calling him like a partner with terrorism. Come on, man. Are you joking, man?
It's rubbish. It's all
joking.
rubbish.
But it's all right for the government to do deals. We all drive cars. Where do we get our oil from?
That's right.
Where do we get our petrol from? We're all driving cars, man.
People only look at one aspect.
People complain about communism and China and how all the bad things that are happening in China. Yeah, everyone's buying products that are made specifically from that part of the world.
Literally, look at any label.
You know what, man? People say people go. A lot of people when you get a lot of the hate. So I'm not big on social media. I don't have much social media. But if you don't like what I have to say, don't listen. You know what? Exactly, man. So all the negative, all the whingers, all the whiners, I don't listen to them anymore, man.
There's no point.
And since I've done that, I recommend that for a lot of people. If it's in you, go for it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Positive manifestation.
Life is good, man.
Manifestation.
Yeah,
life is good.
It can be sickening if you're over positive.
But that's the point. People get over positive. Like for example, the law of attraction. People think, if I just think about this, it's going to come to me. If I think about getting a Lambo, it's going to come to me. But it's not about that. It's about knowing what you want, manifest yourself in it, and then working towards the goal.
That's the important part. Working towards it.
Exactly.
They think just thinking it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Work towards it.
Yeah.
It's, and so we've gone a little bit off topic now.
Yeah.
Right. And then we've gone a little bit negative, which is not good. All right.
It's all right.
But just basically, and I think a lot of people would have been in. That's what I mean. I think a lot of people would have been in my situation where they wouldn't have had the guts. No guts, no glory. No guts to go out. And I think in this day and age, I see with the younger generation, they're a bit more ballsy, right? They're a little bit more ballsy. But it's tougher, obviously, with prices of the housing market.
Yeah.
Stuff. It's becoming a bit it's a bit unattractive. So Bob told me a good story.
Yeah.
Right, and this is basically like a nice way to summarize what was going on, what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
The golden egg, right?
The golden egg.
The golden egg. So, and essentially, my dad is the golden egg in this story, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you got to find your golden egg.
Okay.
So, and he told the story much more fluently than I am going to say it. So I'm just trying to remember it the best I can. So he said, "There's a man. He's very wealthy.
Yeah.
He goes up to another man that's not so wealthy, struggling, hands him the golden egg. Says to the man, you can take this egg, you can sell this egg, and this egg will, when you sell it, the money you make from it will provide you for the remainder of your life to live a comfortable life." He said, "Thank you very much." He gave him the egg. The man goes away. He thinks of selling it, but he doesn't sell it. What he does is starts opening up a business, starts working, starts making moves, right? And he starts making money.
Yeah.
And he becomes very wealthy.
Yeah.
And he no longer needs the golden egg anymore, right? So what he does is he goes, you know what? I'm going to do what that guy did to me. So he goes, I'm going to find someone that needs this egg. So he goes, finds a guy, similar position that he was in, gives him the egg, says the same thing. Here's the egg. You can take this egg, sell it. It will provide for you to be comfortable for the remainder of your life. There you go. Gift from me to you. Gives the man the egg. The other man, decides he wants to go and sell it.
Yeah.
He takes the egg to the market, goes to sell it, gives it to the man. The man says, "This isn't golden. It's a piece of porcelain. It's rubbish." Okay?
Yeah.
So the egg symbolizes, so the man, you have to act. That egg was like the insurance. So that egg gave him the confidence.
Yeah.
Gave him the balls to start making moves, right? How do you know, without it, he wouldn't have done anything.
Yeah.
So I get it. Not everyone has an egg, right? But sometimes your egg, all right, should be yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to trust in yourself. Don't sell yourself short, because probably I did that in the past. I'm probably when you ask me why is it that you didn't want to have a business and I couldn't quite answer it, maybe it's because I didn't believe in myself enough.
You didn't have the golden egg at that point.
No, I didn't. And maybe I didn't believe in myself. Maybe maybe it wasn't the right time. There's lots of reasons we can speculate, and I
Yeah.
can't quite answer it properly. I can just give out as much rubbish as I can, and people can figure out what they want out of it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's like even with like buying a house, buying an investment, starting a business, whatever it is. Even if you want something, you just work hard, you get it. But don't be scared to, and particularly don't be scared to make moves before you get married, and before you have, because like I can attest to this 100%.
Yeah.
From the age of 14, I was working. Then 17, like I said, bought a house, didn't work out, but I made a lot of money and blew so much money,
Yeah.
right? And when I got married, I didn't have that much to my name, right? Besides my trade, okay? But so I blew all that money, and I still managed to get married, have kids, and be where I am today.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna blow it, you're better off blowing it before you have a wife, before you have kids, because like right now the stakes are much higher,
Yeah.
you know?
And yeah, if we're gonna touch on Andy again, that's the advice that he always gives me, and he gave me it today before I came here. Stopped by Hookah House, and he said that pretty much exactly what you're saying. These are the golden years. But no, when you're not married and you don't have that responsibility, this is the time for you to be creative and do what you want to do, and to take the calculated risks.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get that time back
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
And because we don't have any show notes,
Yeah.
we've probably missed some stuff. I'm probably like, we're going to turn off the laptop and I'm going to like, shit, man.
Oh, I should have talked
Forgot-
about. Should have
forgot
talked
to talk about that.
That's for the fourth appearance, man.
Yeah. So, but the big one is with that, like you got to enjoy yourself. You got to have fun before you get married, before you have kids. So that's the one. They're the regrets you don't want to have.
Yeah.
Money comes and goes,
Yeah.
and being happy essentially, what's it your business or my business or your business, what makes anyone happy?
Yeah.
Like this might make me happy, that might not make someone else happy.
Yeah, that's right.
Like someone just sitting down having a cup of tea, like my wife loves to sit there and have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
That makes her so happy, like, you know. And I look at her like, man,
Everyone's got their thing.
everyone's got their
To
thing.
you, it looks ridiculous, but to that person,
Yeah, but you don't want to look back and just go, you know what? I should have done this. I should have done that. You know, I should have done like before you got married. So that's the big one, because a big restraint was, once I did get married and I did have kids, starting a business became very difficult because I had responsibilities and like
you've got a
you
wife to take care of, and then
and you-
you know,
and you-
So
kids.
the stakes get a lot higher.
yeah, the
Yeah.
stakes are and the stakes are high now.
Yeah.
They're ultra high. I've got 3 kids, but you know, and we go back. Let's go back to what I said was like, when I was married with my wife, we had nothing. Well, I'm not say we had nothing, but compared to what I have now, we have nothing. And that's why I'm telling her I want to have a 4th kid, because I'm just like, man, life will get even better.
Life is good.
She's not buying into that.
Yeah.
But I've been blessed in that regard. Like, so some other people, they're not blessed like that. Like, they struggle to have a family, and I really do like sympathize for them. You know, they don't like it. And then you talk to those people, they may have all the money in the world, and they'll give it all up so they can have 1 kid. So,
Yeah.
you know, be kind, man. I think be kind, be positive, be kind, because
Pass on the golden egg.
yeah. But people, man, I think people, they don't realize their words hurt sometimes. You know, so just be kind, be grateful for what you have. Like what Andy said, the one thing he stood out the most, he goes, when you look at someone and where they're at, you know, they might be their chapter 20.
Yeah, don't judge someone's
And you might be in your
20 by-
chapter 2.
Yeah.
And you didn't know what they were, or like if you look at my chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, it's like, whoa, that guy went through that.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at me now, you might, oh, look at this guy, you know. But I'm in whatever chapter I'm in now. And, you know, they're things, you know, because you guys are just beginning.
We're at the beginning. We're on our chapter 2 now.
Yeah.
That's it. And who knows where we're going to go. But that was very, very insightful. I think people are going to find a lot of value in all of that. That might inspire some people, maybe like especially your generation, the younger, you know, 19, 20, 21-year-olds that are venturing out into the world, you know, to make better decisions, take risks, do what you got to do.
As Andy says, calculated risks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
And-
Now, you hear like someone go, oh, if I could just, like, you hear all the famous people say, oh, if I could just get through to 1 kid out there, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
Right? They get through to a lot more than 1 kid. And I'm not sitting here saying, oh, if I can just get through to one kid. Like, I'm not a wanker, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm not like, I'm like,
We're not Gandhi.
I'm a
We're
battler,
not,
man.
Yeah, we're not Gandhi. We're battlers.
All right, we're battlers. But if people listen to this, like I told you, I went to a company where I knew so much, right? But I learned so much from them, and they essentially they couldn't teach me anything, but they taught me so much.
Yeah.
My business is now a mixture of me, a bit of that company, and a bit of the other company I worked for, because I worked for one company, then I went and worked for the complete opposite of what I worked for. Plus, I take my skills, mix them all together, and now I'm like I think I'm running a very good business for what I am. I don't have workers, very small. I don't push big work. I'm not greedy. I like to do a good job. I prefer to spend an extra day on the job, even if I'm not making that extra money. Essentially, even if you listen to me and you hate my guts, if you listen to me closely, there's a lot to learn from what I have to say.
Yeah.
It's the same as if I listen to someone that I don't like or that might rub me the wrong way. If you listen to them closely, you learn a lot from them.
Yeah.
Or you can take something out from them.
One of my favorite sayings is when you talk to someone, listen to them as if they're explaining something you don't know yet, or something along those lines.
Just to make it a bit funny, I was playing with Bosco today.
Yeah.
He hit the ball, way wide, and where he was looking was nowhere near where he went to his ball. And he goes, a guy once told me, look for where you want your ball to be, not where it actually is.
I love Bosco, man.
Shout out to my battler mates, Dean and Bosco. They're my brothers, man. And I wouldn't be here where I am if it wasn't for those two blokes.
Bosco,
They played a big role in my life, man.
Bosco, aka the Terminator on the golf course.
The big boss man.
There is not a golf ball he won't find.
But no, we appreciate the insight into your life, going for a bit deeper. Dive in a bit deeper that we didn't do in the first 2 times that you came on this podcast. And for all of it, me and Jackson,
and you just before we wrap it up, you just reminded me of something. On the very first podcast I went on, I watched it back, and when I was lighting the cigar, you asked me a question, and I didn't answer it. I obviously didn't hear it.
Yeah.
You asked me, where did you find your love for cigars?
Yes, I remember.
You remember?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
Now,
You completely shut me off.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear.
No.
All right. Where did I find my love for cigars? Okay. And I think this is a fitting way to end it, because I've said a few nice words about my dad. Oh, my dad, he smoked. Our dad smokes, right?
Yeah.
So he started to get some cigars, just from the tobacconist, a couple of Romeo and Juliets, right? The cheap man cigar, but they're not cheap, right? They're actually a rip-off. And then, like Dad does with everything, when he starts doing his research, he gets immersed in it, right? He started, going online, ordering nice cigars, got a humidor. So he started the craze.
Yeah.
And so I'd go over, and my dad would say, "Do you want a cigar?" So I don't smoke. I've never smoked cigarettes. Smoke argilli with you a bit, but don't really smoke. I said, "Yeah, all right, I'll try one." So cut it, light it up, smoke it. I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy it. Actually, I didn't mind it. It was nice, right? But what I got addicted to was the company. So I'd sit with my dad. A cigar would take an hour or 2 to smoke. While we sit there, we talk family, business, life, old stories. We talk anything and everything. Sometimes you'd sit with us. You'd crank your ag.
Yeah.
Right? Be the 3 of us. Sometimes, remember for one of your birthday parties, it was like 12 of us, and we just handing out cigars, caibas.
Like
we went through like $1,000 of cigars.
Like their lollies.
But like the vibe, how good was the vibe?
The best.
Okay. And then what would happen is I'd tell my wife, I'd go, "Listen, I'm just going past my parents' house." "Oh, yeah." So then I'd say, and then my dad would pull out 2 cigars. We'd sit there. And that's what actually hooked me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying my dad's old. My dad's, I think he's 57, 58.
Yeah.
So he's not too old. But he might be around for a year. He might be around for 20. He might be around for 30. Who knows, right? Or even me, right? So I looked at it and I'm like, well, I've worked hard in my life. I've got married. And my dad's worked ultra hard. And I probably should have mentioned him more that I got my great work ethic from my dad.
Yeah.
Right? Because the old Arabs, he'd wake up in the morning, came here with nothing, wake up in the morning, go, and he'd come home and we'd be asleep.
Yeah.
Right? So with all that we've sacrificed, I said, you know what? Life's too short. Need to spend quality time with Dad. And the cigar is what hooked me. Now, it's a hobby. And it's
and it's what a hobby. What a hobby.
What a hobby it is. And I really enjoy it. But still, there's nothing better than when I rock up to my parents' house, crack open a few cigars, and we just sit there and just shoot the shit, man. That's the best. You know?
I love it.
And for the end, and I do also notice that it's not a sermon for the public, right? Because like everyone can do what they want. Like I always say that. I say I got my 4 walls. I care about my 3 kids, my wife. Obviously, I care about my brother and my close people. But essentially, everyone can do whatever they want, and I don't really care.
Yeah.
If you want to like do good, you want to do bad. It's your life. It's your business, right? I don't really involve myself in other people's rubbish. But I do notice that we are so caught in the rat race, and like there's so many pressures in life that we do not spend enough time with grandparents, with parents, with brothers. There is not enough time allocated for that, you know, and that's one thing you will regret when you get older. Because even if I spend every day with my dad, right, and then one day he's not here, I'll look back and I should spend more time with him.
It's
man.
never
enough, man.
So however long time that is. You make
my
sure
mum will get upset if she watches this.
Yeah.
So shout out to mum.
Shout out
We
to
love
mum.
you too.
All right, we're back. You obviously heard Ellie's story, the uncut story of the E-man behind the roast master. Went for a lot longer than we anticipated, but it was quite.
I didn't really want to talk that long, did I?
No, we thought we were just going to go half an hour, but we just kept going and going.
But that's what I love about when we sit here.
Yeah.
We just start talking. Sometimes we forget we're talking on a podcast.
There's no rules.
That's
that's
really
what we
the
do in
essence.
general, don't
That's the essence of the podcast, man.
Yeah.
And I always say this every time we talk about how the podcast started. It was just getting together, saying, "Hey, let's turn this into a podcast." We talk shit, you know. We talk about life,
Yeah.
like you said, shooting the shit.
Yeah.
Like,
And at the end of the day, you know, very serious start to the podcast, but it wouldn't be a Sunday smoke if we didn't start talking the shit, you know? That's why I got the fresh cigar, my favorite cigar, out for this second part of the second half of the podcast.
The Underground.
The Underground, Drew Estate, my absolute favorite cigar. And what I want to start with is we want to bring it back to the segment, the ick.
the ick.
A new segment that we introduced a couple episodes back, and I want to start things here. It's people that eat pizza or burgers with a fork and knife. It disgusts me to the core. It's so posh.
What about chicken? How do people eat chicken? Like, you know,
What do you mean?
have you seen people eat chicken
Yeah.
Or like on the bone?
on the bone? Like a
Yeah.
charcoal
that.
chicken. How do you eat charcoal chicken with
I know.
What do you mean?
Can people?
You got to get in
Oh.
there, man.
You got to pick it up. You got to pick it up.
Wait,
you got to
wait,
eat
wait.
it.
up
No.
No,
So
I
you're
know.
saying how do they eat it with a knife and fork?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, of
Exactly.
course.
I don't understand how people do this. I don't know where this originated, where this started. Like a burger was meant for hands. It was meant to be grasped. There's a bun on the top and there's a bun on the
Yeah, I
bottom.
know.
Meant for your thumb on the bottom and your index finger on the
Yeah,
top. You know?
and sometimes your pinky finger for support.
I know,
Like you got to stabilize the back of the burger so the sauce doesn't drop out, you know?
Yeah.
Or what about when they don't cut the pizza properly?
Oh, bro, that's
Leave the
bad.
stuff up,
Yeah.
and then you
And
get
then-
everyone's toppings.
Bro, you know what? There's nothing worse.
You get
Oh,
the
yeah.
first
that's
guy
bad.
that takes the pizza gets all everyone's toppings.
Yeah. Or what about when they're at
Right.
the pizza shop, you know, and they don't cut it like in the good how do they cut it in 6s, 8s,
Yeah.
you know? But they're all uneven. Like you got one slice that's like this big, and then another slice that's like massive.
It's
That's a
like they
disaster.
started at the middle and they've just gone down and they're trying to just get it right. Like
Yeah, I
cutting a birthday cake. That's
Yeah, that's a ick.
a big ick.
That's bad. You know, actually, your because I saw your ick, and it gave me like a bit of an idea.
Yeah.
Because I've had one for ages, and I got this one from my dad. Funny enough,
Mm.
spoons.
Spoons. Okay.
I can't eat anything with a spoon.
Yeah.
It can be a cake. It can be
You know what?
noodles.
Yeah, your dad doesn't like. Your dad hates
No,
spoons.
I've actually never seen him use a spoon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. No, that's true. Have you
Never.
ever-
I'll never use a spoon.
Yeah.
Ever.
How does he have ice cream?
You lick it.
No,
No, but like in the
cup.
like in a cup. How does it?
No, he doesn't really have ice cream
Uses
that
a-
much.
well, he uses
And
a fork.
actually, no, I have seen him.
he uses
No,
a
no, no.
s- a spork.
I will be honest. I actually have seen him before.
Yeah.
We get. He loves his pistachio ice cream,
Mhm.
right? We'll go to a dinner. We'll order some ice cream after the dinner, and he'll use his fork that he was eating his meal with to eat the ice cream.
How does he have his cereal?
It doesn't have to be.
He doesn't. He doesn't. He's got to commit to the. He's got to commit to
no
the
spoon
fork.
life.
Commit to the fork.
So obviously, there's some things. There's some things in life like soup that are hard to eat. But even soup, like if you're having like
He slurps it.
Yeah.
if you're having like 2-minute noodles or something, and you got to have the soup after, you just have the noodles with the fork, and then you drink this. You slurp the soup afterwards.
All right. But look, one of the rules of this particular segment is you don't have to justify your ick. You know,
No.
you have your reasoning. There's no argument. If it gives you the ick, it gives you the ick.
I just think that a fork is a more versatile piece of silverware, and there's not really a use for a spoon that much.
So you're part of this.
Yeah, that's
brigade.
what I'm saying. I'm a part of this. I'm anti-spoon.
Anti-spoon, man.
You don't spoon?
No,
No big spoon, no little spoon.
no spoons.
No spoon for you.
No spoon.
Or as Josh would say, so you like spoons?
You like spoons?
You like spoons?
Shout out Drake and Josh. What gives you the ick?
I don't know if this is going to be classed as a ick. We'll see how it goes. But have you noticed, right, when you call someone or you text someone and they don't answer, right, and they want to try and like the whole world wants to try and convince you that they're not on, like, oh, I wasn't near my phone, man. It's like, have you seen anyone? Have you seen anyone that is not near their phone?
Everyone is on their phone 24/7.
So, like, I get it. They might not want to answer me, but just say it. Like for me, put it this way, my phone is always near me.
Yeah.
On a Sunday, I kind of put it in my room, but during the week, it's always near me. And I tell everyone, if I didn't answer you, it's because I didn't want to answer you.
Yeah.
All right, that's just the way it is.
Honest.
Like, and if I was to answer my phone all day, every day, like, I'd get nothing done, right? I can't be on my phone all day. But like this, man, sorry, man, I wasn't near my phone. But like, and the people that tell you, they're just like, they're constantly on their phone.
Yeah. You know what they would have done? They would have been on their phone on YouTube or something. They would have seen your name pop up and have to wait for the missed
You would
call.
have annoyed them.
Yeah.
At least tell me.
But you know what? Actually, yeah, just brought up something. This is more of a grind my gears.
Yeah.
Maybe
All
it's
right.
a grind my gears than an
No, this is a bit more of a grind my gears. I'm going to touch on this as well. All right, because me personally, all right, if I'm actually at a phone call, I never let it ring out, right? So it doesn't matter what it is. I'll hit the decline button.
Yeah.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
Decline.
Yeah.
Right?
You're
So
declining.
I don't like when people want to leave the phone to ring out so they can't answer. No.
Yeah.
Just hit decline. That's to me that's a bit of respect.
Yeah.
Because like it's like at least I know you well enough, all right, or we're on the term where you feel comfortable hitting decline to my call.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You know?
But you know that I believe everyone out there has, and you, both of you included, knows someone that just never, ever answers their phone.
Of course, man.
That when you with them is always on their phone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got a
No,
few.
There's,
I won't out anyone
there's plenty.
yeah.
because the ick is not that they didn't answer the phone. It's how they try and convince you that they're not near their phone. Come on, man.
Everyone's near there.
So I feel like I'm part of the guys that don't answer their phone
You might
much.
be one of the guys I'm talking
Because
about.
how many, man, every time I see you, you're always on who are you messaging, man? You're messaging your girlfriend, man. This podcast is the one time of the week where you have an hour. You
Well,
have an hour and a
he
bit to
might be
yourself.
the person that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think he is, man. I think we've outed you, bro.
Yeah. Well, at least I hit decline. All right, so we're gonna get into our second segment, segment heavy side of the podcast.
Yes.
Everyone's favorite stressful situations, whether necessary or unnecessary.
I love this segment. It's my favorite.
That's a long title for a segment. I want to go around the table, starting with you,
Yeah.
Sam. What do you find stressful in life?
The quarter tank of fuel when you're driving. Is
Yeah, that's
when
bad.
I don't know if it's whether I don't know. There's a lot of modern cars out there that have the bars, or you go the old school cars where it's got the level. But when you're hitting that mark, like I've got a Mazda 3, so the yellow light comes up, and you know you've got plenty of time. You know you've got all the time in the world to get to a petrol station, but it's like, well, what if it doesn't? What if I've got less time than I think
That's
I do?
the best episode when Kramer and
Bro, yeah,
yes,
Seinfeld.
Can I just say I've been in that situation before
Yeah.
when like my thing was going down. I thought I had a bit left. Nah,
you've run out.
I've run out in the middle of the highway.
Oh,
I was actually
That
going.
doesn't surprise me
I
that
was
you've
actually-
run out of petrol.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah,
in
does
all,
not
in all
surprise me
fairness,
one bit.
in all fairness,
There is no fairness.
no, there is. In
There
all
is no
fairness,
fairness.
because I took my car back to the shop. All right, and they said there was actually a problem with my dash, so it was showing that I had more fuel than what I actually had.
It doesn't surprise me that your dash was dodgy as well.
But yeah, to go to the Seinfeld episode, that's a great episode.
When it gets to the, how far can we go under
yeah,
the E?
they hit E and they just keep going and going and going.
That was I know Hamish and Andy did a segment on
Yeah.
that a while ago.
100 Ks, man.
Yeah.
100 Ks.
Yeah, my car couldn't do that.
I'm just.
Your car couldn't even get there.
He couldn't even make it to the end. Finished early.
Your car's like you, bro. That's your car's like you. Couldn't even get to empty. Said, I've had enough, man.
Oh, Jackson, you're up.
So I feel like everyone's been in this kind of situation before, particularly for younger people.
Mhm.
But you know, when you're working a casual job,
Okay.
all right, and you get your phone call, and you get a phone call from your boss,
Mhm.
or especially on the weekend, all right, always asking you to work that extra shift
Yeah.
on your night out, or you got a night out planned,
Yeah.
and your phone starts ringing. 'Cause I had that happen to me one night. We were going out actually. It
Yeah.
was me, you, and Bob,
Yeah.
right? And I had my phone ring probably 15 minutes before, and I was like, "Oh no,
Where were you working at the
oh
time?
no!" I was working at the super barn,
The super
stacking
barn.
shelves.
Yeah.
Oh no, and then it's followed up by subsequent text messages as well.
Oh, they do the follow up.
They did the follow up.
Yeah.
Oh, we really need you to work tonight, man.
So they must have gone through the whole roster, and then you're
Yeah, exactly.
They
How many
needed you.
people are working there, and you want to call me?
Yeah.
God, must be a big job.
Did you reply?
No. But then that's where the stressful part comes in, because now I've got to come up with an excuse for why I didn't reply.
You see, you shouldn't have to come up with an excuse. It's like, what are you doing?
I was asleep.
15. Yeah, I was asleep. Yeah, 15 minutes before work. Come on, the audacity.
Yeah.
Of that shop owner.
But you know what? The biggest problem with it, and what made it more even more particularly stressful for me, is that my boss at the time lived on the same street as me.
Did he do the door? Maybe he did the door knock.
No. But he always used to walk past my house
Yeah.
with his son, and they used to go for a walk. And he knows what my car looks like, and my car wouldn't have been there that night.
Well, because you're not home. That's why you
Yeah.
can't work.
Yeah.
Anyways,
If your car was there would have been a problem.
yeah,
Jackson,
But you're still not home. I don't know if that's
it's a particularly.
I think it's unnecessarily.
Yeah, I think it's
unnecessary.
unnecessarily stressful, but stressful nonetheless. I feel like lots of people have been in that situation where
Yeah,
they
'cause you
feel
don't wanna damn-
obliged.
because you
They
do
feel
feel.
obliged to work.
Yeah, you feel bad. But that's a good one, Jackson.
Yeah.
And go around. We'll pass the mic over to the E-man.
Yeah. So when you're in an elevator,
Yeah.
right? So you get in an elevator and you walk into an elevator and you're with someone you know. So you might press like floor 2, they might press like floor 3, and then you start a conversation.
Oh,
And then you have like one floor to start and finish your conversation.
you got-
You know,
don't
it's
how-
like a ticking time bomb.
You don't know how long. You don't know how long to go for. How in depth to go. You got to make it. Well, actually, do you got to make it quick.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's all shallow conversation.
Well,
Yeah.
What do you even
Things
ask
about the weather and
Yeah.
whatnot.
And if you go in the elevator with someone you know and you don't start a conversation, then you have that awkward silence.
Yeah.
Because you know you can't start it because
There's no point.
there's no point.
Yeah.
It's just,
You know,
Yeah.
funny you talk about elevators, you know, because this could be a bit of a...
yeah, well,
I did. Yeah, I did.
elevator chat.
Elevator chats. That was actually that's the new segment that we're going to bring on, and this was the introduction
Yeah.
to elevator chats, because there are many situations in an elevator that are just so awkward that need to be talked about. that
The
need to be-
elevator, all right, is a situation whereby the events that happen inside an elevator, all right, are worth having a segment about itself.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like there's some funny things that happen inside an elevator.
Yeah.
So like I always say, like, so if you're in an elevator with someone and they rip one and
Oh.
it thinks,
Oh.
but then they leave
Yeah.
and someone else walks in, you've adopted their fart.
You're
So you
guilty.
become the owner of that fart. And you can't say like, oh, it was the guy that was.
It makes you look
Yeah,
more
so-
guilty.
No, you just
It was
adopted
him.
it. You just
It
got
was him.
You just got to take an L, man.
Take the L and own it.
You know what about when you're running like late for somewhere, or I don't know, maybe particularly me because I happen to be the master at running late to things. But
You're telling me.
but when you get in an elevator and you're like pressing the close button to make sure no one else gets in, because it's the worst thing when you're on, say, level 5, all right, and someone just happens to last minute get inside that elevator and
They
they're on
put
level
they put their foot in.
yeah
Yeah.
and they're on level 2.
Yeah.
I hate that guy.
Yeah, and that guy, and then as the doors are closing, he goes to press the closed door button, but he presses the open door button.
Oh, bro.
You just ruined the whole operation. The whole operation's gone.
And now, then before
Should
you
be
know
banned
it,
from ever touching.
before you know it, bro, there's
I
three.
think I'm that guy though.
Yeah. Before you know it, there's 3 more people filling up levels 1, 2, 1, 3, and 4.
Oh.
Like,
All right, so it's that time before we wrap it up to go into Bitmoji Wars, the one where everyone sends in their selfies or any old photo with a screenshot of their Bitmoji, and we'll roast and/or critique the accuracy of said Bitmoji. Of course, that's where we're doing our first giveaway, where the winner, 28th of August 2022, will be giving away some Shisha products, courtesy of Andy from Hookah House. Had a few entries in, and this week it's only fitting that, given that Elie's here, we start to critique his Bitmoji. So
again,
obviously,
just for reference, we're only on the show so far. We're only critiquing people that have been disqualified.
Yeah.
From the.
This is a setup. I didn't know.
Yeah, nah, come on, man. It's
come
a
on, man,
conflict
you
of
come on our
interest.
podcast.
No, I'm saying I didn't know I was gonna.
You have to, man.
Well, it's not a conflict of interest. So my one's not gonna win.
Yeah, and looking at yours now, it's look, there are some good points. There are also some flaws to this.
Yeah, nah,
To this,
absolutely not.
you definitely don't have you definitely don't have the hair.
All right, first
that
of
length
all,
of hair anymore.
I've never seen you this skinny in my life.
You've definitely
Alright.
shed a few kilos.
Yeah. No, I don't know what fantasy land you're living in.
My Bitmoji is what I want to look like, not what I do look
He's
like.
manifesting. He's manifesting through his
I'm
Bitmoji.
hoping one day I'll look like that.
I'll give credit to the skin tone. The skin tone's pretty on
The skin
point.
tone's pretty good.
The nose
And
is looking
yeah,
good.
that's what I was gonna say. I think the most accurate feature is your nose
Yeah, that's
right here.
But like
And-
you said,
and you know what?
You can't really get the fade with the.
yeah.
It's-
Nah,
Yeah, you got to.
no, you can't.
And one thing I like, if I can have a look again, if I zoom in, I can see a couple of bags under your eyes. That's and Ellie's always rocking the bags under the eyes because he doesn't sleep much.
Yeah, but they don't have bags in the Bitmoji.
What do you mean? Look at it. Look under the. There's a couple of.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was.
I don't know. Maybe you didn't even put them. The Bitmoji just knew automatically. So that's another disqualified entry from this Bitmoji Wars. And now we've got another one in. This one's coming from your friend who you mentioned earlier, the big boss man,
The boss man, the battler.
big Bosco. So we're going to show a photo of the boss man for the viewers. That is Bosco, very tall individual. All you can see is his head.
Well, yeah.
Very large human.
Not the best photo of him.
But look,
There's better photos than that, but that's
bit-
what he sent me. So.
a little bit last minute, but we'll take what we can get. Now, I love this Bitmoji. And I think Jackson, you're gonna like this one too. He's definitely got his tan on.
What is this guy? An African rooster or something?
Bro, what is that?
This guy-
How good is that hair, man?
Bro, what is that?
Look at it. You know what? But they did get the he did get the head size right. He's got a pretty big head, man. On
Yeah.
it. That's. But apart from that, Bosco, what is going on there, bro? I think he'll win the little side part of the
What,
giveaway,
the most exotic?
the most ridiculous and inaccurate.
Yeah, but
Oh.
he hasn't made that. He hasn't made that up because of the segment. He's been rocking that
Yeah.
for a while now.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's one of the rules of the giveaway. You don't change your Bitmoji.
No.
We're
No,
going
but
by
you can make it better, can't you?
no, you can't. No, whatever your Bitmoji is, you got to change.
Well,
it.
so
You
you're
can't
double
change it.
disqualified now?
And now finally, this one I wanted to leave this one for this episode, given that Ellie's on. We're gonna get the brother-in-law on. We got a big Matty
Wow.
F. We'll call him. And here's a photo of Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice,
Alright.
attractive individual.
Handsome man.
Rocking his Kathmandu, the nice smile, lent over.
Handsome man. He is punching though.
Hey,
He is punching.
yeah, definitely. And here's a photo of his Bitmoji, which I think is pretty damn good. I think that's a pretty decent Bitmoji. He's a Celtics fan. He's got a Celtics
Yeah.
singlet on there.
Accurate.
He's got the bit.
I don't think I've seen him wear shorts before, but I'll let that one slide.
He's always right.
You know,
You know what's
he has
missing?
more shorts.
You know what's missing?
Denim shorts.
He's got to wear some thongs. That's what's
You
missing.
need thongs and denim shorts. Loves the denim shorts.
And if not a Celtics singlet, a nice Hawaiian style short sleeve shirt.
I think
But
the weight is the issue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely
no.
looking skinny around the middle.
Nah, again,
Maybe
that's very optimistic that
maybe he's also taking inspiration from Elie. Maybe he's manifesting through his Bitmoji. And what do I call it? The forehead size is pretty spot on with the hair and the beard. I think that's a very accurate beard.
Yeah.
If you've seen.
go back to his photo.
It's pretty on point.
Analysis. Oh, that is, you know what?
The beard is pretty on point.
That's pretty solid.
I think this is going to be a pretty good runner for this giveaway. But guys, send in your Bitmojis, send in the photo
Don't
of
be
yourself.
shy, guys. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Come on, get out of your comfort zone a bit, and you're going to win some good prizes. You know, check out the Sunday Smoke on Instagram. You'll see all the prizes that we're going to be giving away, and they're quite good value. You can send them into the Sunday Smoke, DM us, or the sundaysmoke@gmail.com. All right, I think it's about that time that we wrap up this guest episode with Elie. And before we do our thank yous, Jackson, you want to run through it? Do your thing.
Yeah, so if you're looking to check us out further, besides all the streaming services like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other streaming services, you can find us on YouTube and Instagram at The Sunday Smoke and TikTok on The Sunday Smoke Clips. You know,
that's it. And with that said, Elie, thanks for coming on again. This was, as we said, you know, different side to Elie that we've seen this one. Hopefully everyone...
Hopefully not too different.
Yeah. It was, and that's it. You know, we spent that first 2/3 of the podcast finding out a bit.
It really flew, didn't it?
Oh man, an hour went past. I was looking at it, I was like, shit, 50 minutes.
It really flew, but
Yeah.
What do you? I enjoy coming on. Hopefully, I hope that you get some guests like the battlers out there.
Yeah.
Come on, you know, put your hand up. Come on, say what you have to say. You know, 'cause this can be the battlers chat.
The battlers chat, man. That's what it's all about.
And come on, tell your story and just let the people that listen enlighten us.
Like you were saying before, what you were saying with the direction we might be heading towards is, like you said about the battlers, the everyday people. Everyone's got a story. We want to find out those people, and we want to listen to those stories.
That's it. So if you've got a good story, feel free to hit us up. You know, on any of our social media.
Yeah.
Hit us up if you want to be a guest, and we'll have a chat. Maybe get you guys on. So don't be scared. Don't be shy.
It's always a pleasure, boys. And
yeah, that's it.
Like I said, I've liked a few of your guests. Hopefully, you get a few more.
Yeah.
And it's always a pleasure to come on.
That's it.
You know,
well, this isn't going to be the last time. Don't anyone think this is going to be the last time. Elie will be making many more appearances.
Yeah, but I do hope that you get a few good ones on there and keep this thing going.
Let's keep it going. Keep the ball rolling. But thank you, Elie, for coming on. And Jackson, what's the time for?
It's time to ash the cigars.
Beautiful. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next week.